started this company, I was less focused on social ventures. I'm Eric Hudson, founder and president of Recycline. I wanted to create a sort of an anti-common business environment. I wanted it to be casual, but I also had business training. I had an MBA. So it was about developing systems and running an efficient business, but letting go of the sort of the basic stiff culture that I saw in business at that time. That was a key element.
The Preserve brand is absolutely a reflection of what happens inside our company. I'm C.A. Webb and I'm the marketing director here at Recycline. You know, when I first met with our design firm and talked about our sort of refreshed brand identity and what our logo would look like and our tagline would sound like and our creative, messaging would be, I talked about how we all get to work. You know, Eric drives his biodiesel car, I take the commuter rail, Alyssa bikes in, Justin, runs in. I talk about who we really are as people and the way we work together, and down to, if it's warm outside, you're not going to catch any of us with lace-up shoes. We're here in flip-flops and Birkenstocks. That's just who we are. And what do we do on the weekends? Most of us are outside, enjoying being outside, and that's really who we are as a company. And it's important to us that we work in recycled materials. We're rough around the edges. We're not a cool, sleek. We're cool, but we're not sleek and smooth. We're real and we're grounded, and we're a little dirty sometimes. And we absolutely want to convey the reality of who we are as people coming together to make great products in the way we express our brand.
Yeah, I think the process at Recycline is quite different than where I have worked previously with multinational corporate companies. I am John Turcotte. I'm the Vice President of Sales at Recycline. First of all, we're very small, and we're quite collaborative. We need to be quite collaborative because we are so small. Unlike the corporate world, I think that the entrepreneurial slant is to, hey, we got to get these things answered today. So our decision-making process is I think quicker, and we pull together the resources we need to solve a problem, and we get it done, and we move on to the next thing. We just don't have the luxury of being able to let it drag on anymore.
We're small enough that there's more things to get to than we're ever going to get to. My name is Ben Anderson, and I head up product development and product management at Recycline. It's a company where if you want to do something, you have the opportunity to get involved with it. So you still have to do your core job, but if you're interested in advancing some new initiative, you can take it on and move it forward. And you don't necessarily have to have a background that maps to being a product manager at Gillette in order to come in and influence the product strategy here. What that brings is ambitiousness and creativity that somebody who's come from a big company, that they may have the blinders on, and so maybe sometimes we're naive or overly ambitious, but we're going up against Gillette and Procter & Gamble and other big brands that are incredibly well resourced. So you need people who are adaptable and entrepreneurial.
What inspired me to develop the first product and start the company was a desire to start the company. I wanted to start a company on my own, and I had a concept of a new product, which was the toothbrush, and along with that I married that with an interest to develop products made from recycled materials. So there was a lot of recycling going on in the early 90s, but there wasn't necessarily products that were made from those materials that people were recycling. So I knew that the consumer or people in the world would have an interest in more products made from recycled materials.
I got another call from a big CPG company that wants to talk to us about potentially working with them to collect their products. Consumers don't want to throw them in landfills anymore, and they're looking at companies like ours that are taking recycled materials, turning them into something, cool, and wondering if we can do that, with their raw materials after their products are recycled. So, I think that the tricky thing about the space that we're doing business in is that there are a lot of people who still think this is fringe, that green products and mass interest in those products is I think there's a lot of skepticism still. And so what I have to do is parse which parts really are fringe and will stay, and which parts are going to have the ability to really transcend and become part of a reality. I do think that there are a lot of consumers in the world that are standing at the register asking questions about products that they weren't asking a couple years ago, and that's only going to become a sort of fiercer and more interesting conversation in the years to come.
There's no question in the last 2 years, the amount of press you read and the amount you hear about people seeking to be more environment friendly in their everyday lives is really blow away. And the biggest thing that I'm concerned about is whether it's going to, kind of have a negative backlash. I liken that and take confidence in the fact that I think that we will have some backlash if we're not having it already. I liken it to the .com world in the sense that I think there was a major bubble crash, obviously everyone knows, but after that, everyone had a laptop on their desk. So whenever people were all left standing, there was much more technology in everyone's lives. And I think this major backlash in the green market will come in the next year or two. And I think after that, we'll all realize that we've incorporated these green activities much more in our lives. It's going to be pervasive throughout the United States of America as well as the world.